उद्घाट्य योगकलया हृदयाब्जकोशं धन्यैश्चिरादपि यथारुचि गृह्यमाणः यः प्रस्फुरत्यविरतं परिपूर्णरूपश्रेयस्समे दिशतु शाश्वतिकं मुकुन्दः अमरीकपरीभारभ्रमरीमुखरीकृतं दूरीकरोतु दुरितं गौरीचरणपङ्कजं परस्परतपःसम्पत्परस्परफलायितु प्रपञ्च फलायितपरस्परो நினைக்கிறேன். I think I've been making a mistake with this shloka. प्रपञ्च मातापितरौ प्राञ्चौ जायापति स्तुमः. Sure. Try to correct it next time. We finished with Luptopama. Yeah, we have to start with Ananvaya alankara. Anyway, it will be a little bit easier in the sense we'll have to understand only the subtle differences between one alankara and another alankara. So this is Ananvaya alankara. Upamana upameyatvam yat ekasyaiva vastunaha induhu induriva shriman ityado tadananvayaha. So induhu induriva shriman is your example. So the first line is your definition. Upamana upameyatvam. Upamanasya upameyatvam yat ekasyaiva vastunaha. So ekasyaiva vastunaha, the same object is being treated as both the upamana and the upameya. So ekasya vastunaha eva tatra upamanatvam api bhavati, upameyatvam api bhavati. The example he gives is induhu iva shriman. Shriman is kantiman or beauty. So it is as charming. The moon is as charming as we usually give another upamanam. So the moon itself is its own upamanam here. There is no other comparison there. Okay, dvitiya vastu abhavat. So there is no second object which can be compared to this particular object in this particular dharma. So there are also places where we are going to look at the aparam udaharanam does not have a sadharana dharma also, but in this udaharanam he gives the samana dharma. So what is the upamanam, upameya and the samana dharma? You can have your chart like the luptopama or like upama etc. You have upamanam and then the upameya, you have the upama vachaka shabda also, and you will also have a sadharana dharma. Whether it is mentioned or not, it doesn't matter. Induhu, because we are describing Indu becomes your upameya. Induhu iva, the anvaya is such that when you write the sentence, you are writing induriva iti. Tarhi tatra upamanattvena api induhu eva diyate. So in both the columns of upamanam and the upameya, you will write only indu. The upama vachaka would be iva, and then shriman, shrimatvam would be your sadharana dharma, kanti or beauty, something. Okay. Ityadau, in such cases, tad ananvayaha. The anvayaha yatra na vartate. Anya padarthena saha tatra anvayaha nasti. So ananvaya usually means it does not. When we were looking at gunadosha budho grinnan indukshvedau iva gunaha induhu iva vartate iti. So there we tried to connect it with another object. Here there is no connection of that sort to another object. It is only connected with itself. Is that clear? Someone wants to read the vritti.
This is similar to that. You would mention that Rama.
இருக்கு. அது வந்து that comes in the extra உதாரணம். அது வருது. Yeah, we will have that. சரி. So ekasyaiva, someone wants to read the vritti?
I'll read.
Yeah.
Ekasyaiva vastunaha yad upamanatvam upameyatvam cha vivakshyate tad ananvaya alankaraha.
So yasmat karanat, so or yatra, yat can be taken as yatra ekasyaiva vastunaha upamanatvam upameyatvam cha vivakshyate. Vivaksha vartate tatra.
स्वस्य स्वेनैव सादृश्यं न अन्वेति इति अनन्वय संज्ञा.
Swasya svenaiva sadrishyam na anveti. Okay, he takes it in this manner. Swasya induhu indoho svenaiva saha induna eva saha sadrishyam similarity na anveti. When you want to say talk of a similarity, you usually do not do the same connection here. I took it in a little different manner here. So he says the fact that you are comparing one with oneself is not something that is normally seen, right? So that doesn't fit well. So that's why he says Ananvaya Samjna. I'm not sure if Rasikaranjani also says the same thing, but yeah, go on.
तथा वर्णनस्य प्रयोजनं सदृशवस्त्वन्तरव्यवच्छेदेन
अनुपमत्वं भवति.
अनुपमत्वद्योतनं.
Yeah. So what is the prayojanam for describing in this manner? Induhu iva ityatra avarnanas tatha varnanasya prayojanam. The reason for doing such a description is sadrisha vastu antara, vastwantara, anyatu vastu vastwantaram, anyaha deshaha deshantaram. So sadrisha vastwantara vyavachedena, by getting rid of another object which is very similar to this. We are trying to say that this particular object which we are describing is anupama. There is no upama for it.
व्यवच्छेदेन इत्युक्ते
by removal.
निवारणेन. Oh, okay.
Like they say in Tamil, avarukku nihar avarengra mariya.
ஆமா, அதேதான் இங்க. அவருக்கு நிகர் அவர். அதுதான் நம்ம சொல்ல வரோம். So we are trying to say that there isn't another object to compare here.
उपमायां द्वयोः सादृश्यवर्णनम् अत्र तु एकस्य तेनैव इति भेदः.
So उपमायां
द्वयोः सादृश्यवर्णनम्. There is a comparison of two similarity between two objects. अत्र तु एकस्य तेनैव इति भेदः. Here for that object, that itself is the comparison. That is the difference here.
Yeah. Someone had a doubt here?
I had a question. So in other words, this particular object in question must be either the best or the worst. So there is, I mean, you have to be at the two
with
edges of the spectrum.
With respect to that particular dharma.
Yeah. With respect to the dharma, it has to be the best or the worst. So there is no comparison.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
इन्दुरिन्दुरिव श्रीमान् इत्यत्र इन्दोः एकस्यैव उपमानत्वम् उपमेयत्वं च वर्णितम् इति अनन्वयालङ्कारः. इन्दुः इन्दुरिव श्रीमान्. In this example, indoho ekasyaiva upamanatvam upameyatvam. Indu itself has the upamanatva and upameyatva here. That is why it's ananvaya alankara.
In this also, do we have subtypes like the way 8 types we had in the Upama alankara? Can we make subdivisions for Ananvaya also?
Definitely we can, but luckily for us, he has not given. Even in the original Kuvalayananda, he does not give anything, but there is a note in that text. If you have the Rasikaranjani, in page 51, he has given a small note at the end. I'll show you. If it is here in this 50.
Oh, you mean in the
Hindi book? See, Ananvaya Upameya Upamadishu Ananvayopama, Ananvaya alankaraha Upameya Upama alankaraha. That is the next one, third alankara. So these two Adishu Upamayam Iva Yathasambhavam Purnatvam Luptattvadikrita Bedaha Unneyaha. Unneyaha na, it is left up to your discretion. You can try to figure out Purnatvam or Luptatvam. Okay. For example, if in the Aparam Udaharanam, it is a Samana Dharma Lupta is given there. Okay. Yeah. Next is the Aparam Udaharanam. So this It's a simple one. Most of the alankaras will go very simply for us that way. As long as we understand the difference between upama and the rest, or the earlier alankara and the next one. So in certain cases, he will give you that this is the difference between that. Otherwise, we will have to figure out what the difference is based on what he says in other vyakhyanas. Okay. This is the aparam udaharanam. Aparam udaharanam usually is a common example from some other from other text, or it can be created by him itself, Appayya Dikshita himself. So I don't know who has done this, but this is a very popular shlokam. Gaganam gaganakaram, sagara sagaropamaha, Rama Ravanayor yuddham, Rama Ravanayor ida. So Gaganam, Gagana Akaram Vartate. So the Gagana Sadrisham iti. So it is equal to. Here Akara Shabda becomes your Upama Vachakaha. Gaganasya Akaraiva Akaraha Gagane eva Vartate iti. So what is the commonality there? You can think of the vastness is the Samana Dharma, which is absent here, which is not given. So you can take it as Dharma Lupta here also. Sagaraha Sagaropamaha. The ocean is equal to the ocean. Here again Upama becomes your Sadrishya Vachaka Shabda. Rama Ravanayor yuddham, Rama Ravanayor iva. There is the iva Vachaka Shabda here. So this is very common. We see it in Upama everywhere. But there are other ways also to express that tulyatvam with respect to words. You have akara, upama, nibha, sadrisha, tulya. These are all different words you can use to express that vachaka shabda. Yeah, Vritti.
Atra trishu api ananvayeshu kramena vaipulya gambhirya darunatvanam sadharana dharmanam upadanam nasti. Indurinduriva Shriman. Indurinduriva Shriman ityatra tu chaturunamapi avayavanam upadanam asti iti visheshaha.
Yeah. So in all these three examples, there are three examples in this Aparamudaharana. So we have in those three Ananvayeshu, Kramena, so you take it as 1, 2, 3. So in the first one, we find the absence of Vaipulya, Sadharana Dharmanam Upadanam Nasti. We have not taken into consideration the Sadharana Dharma here. It is there in Valmiki Ramayana, correct. So Vaipulyam is Vipulata. Vipula means spreading out, or it is huge. So that expanse that we are talking about, that expanse is not there in any other object. Gambhiryam, the depth is not there in any other object. So we say that the ocean is equal to itself. It cannot compare to any other object with respect to Gambhiryam or depth. The second one is Rama Ravanayoho Yuddham. The one-on-one between Rama and Ravana was extremely terrible to look at. So Darunam is very Bhayankaram iti. So Tatra Bhayankaram Asit Yuddham iti. Bhayankaratvam athava Darunatvam, the cruelty that was associated with the entire Yuddham, is not present in any other Yuddham. Probably even maybe because Valmiki wrote it before Mahabharata, he wrote it in this manner, and there was never a battle fought like that until then. It was even Devasura Yuddham could not compare with Rama and Ravana's Yuddham. So that's how he wrote it.
So I mean, this is a great example that is given, but isn't there a hint of another alankara here? Yatha gaganam eva gaganakaram bhavati, yatha sagaraha eva sagaropamah bhavati, tatha Rama Ravana yuddham, isn't there a hint of another? It's almost like giving an example, just like how this is said, similarly that is that.
It has you can take it like this bimba pratibimba bhava.
Yeah.
But it's not the drishtanta, because you have to say that the bimba pratibimba bhavena tatra abedadhyavasanam bhavati iti. Just as how we took it in Gunadosha Ubudo Grannan.
So we are doing in bimba pratibimba bhava, we're doing a abedadhyavasaya, right?
Probably, yeah.
Right?
Here.
So here we are doing it, we are suggesting it, kind of, right?
Yeah. There is an upama. Definitely there is an aupamyam which is suggested between these three objects.
Right.
Just as how the yataha tatra we have not individually mentioned the samana dharmas there, and so we can say just as how the sky is only equal to itself, Sagara is also equal to itself. In the same manner, Rama Ravana's Yuddham is also equal to the same.
So, yeah, I mean that's he's kind of up the scale.
Double Upama.
Double is kind of double the alankara. But I'm not sure if Appayya Dikshita points it out. Was that his intention giving the second example? Like how he's made it complex?
His difference is usually with the second example, how he goes about is he wants to show a difference between the original example and this. That is, if we are always stuck with the original example, then we tend to think all of the examples will be in that manner. So his idea of bringing in another example is to show that things can come in this manner also.
What I really thought between the Akasha and Sagaratvam was the vastness. Correct? That is not the dharma. That is, apart from the fact that this particular thing seems to, like I said, right, it is actually speaking about the two edges of extremities, the best or the worst. The basic idea of vastness covers the Akasha and Sagara. I don't know how it will cover Rama Ravana.
No, that's not what he is trying to say. The first one is vastness. The second one here is Gambhiryam, depth. Sagaram ordu vandu depth solrar. That's why he shows the difference with respect to the Samana Dharma. It's not the vastness that he's talking about. Rama Ravanayor Yuddham is for Darunatvam. This is the third one here.
In the main Udaharanam, it also said alankara dhvani vastu dhvani, like that. Other than the Ananvaya alankaram, in the main one, Indur Induriva, that example, they've given alankara dhvani vastu dhvani. Like that, is there some kind of dhvani in the Rama Ravana?
Where is it given? Where is it given?
Rasikaranjani.
Alankara dhvani vastu dhvani drashtavyav is only for this shloka, not for the earlier shloka. It is only for this gaganam gaganakaram.
Gagana, that's what he means. Alankara dhvani is the second suggestion of the thing I was talking about. Yes,
the second upama that we get, the sagara is the same as the gaganam, or both of them are same as Rama Ravana Yoruddham. That sadrishyam is the dhvani here. So it is an alankara.
That's the extra thing that he is adding on in the Udaharana.
No, what we have to look at as far as alankara goes is only vachyam. Do not look at the vyangya part. Vyangya part is something that Rasikaranjani gives as an extra fitting. Adu namakki pavanda. We need to only look at the vachyartha. What is the vachya difference that he gives? In this shloka, there is no samana dharma mentioned. Whereas Induhu Induriva Shriman, the Shrimatvam is mentioned there. That's all.
Okay.
Yes, there is an alankara dhvani, there is a vastu dhvani here, but that is over and beyond what is there as a definition and example of the alankara.
What is the vastu dhvani, madam?
Vastu dhvani paakano, avar enna solrar paakaren. Upama vyajyate atra gaganasagarayoho vaipulya-gambhiryam tayoho anupamatvam. Okay, anupamatvam can be there, but upama is the vyangya. Rama Ravanayor anitara sadharana parakrama shalitvam dhvanyate. That is your vastu dhvani.
That is to say, their parakrama is not seen in anybody else.
It is not comparable at all.
So the Yuddham was Bhayankara, that is Vachyam. But Velar was also incomparable, is the Dhvani, Vastu Dhvani.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
okay. So atra Induhu, this is what iti Visheshaha. He always gives what is the difference with respect to the earlier example to the Aparamudahara. What is the Vishesha here? Chaturnam api avayavanam upadanam asti. In Induhu, Induriva, Shriman, all four parts are present. Upamana, Upameya, even though they both are the same, we still have mentioned it twice. That's the point of it. See, you can't just say Induriva, Shriman, then there is no point in it. You need to mention that these two are the same. So Induhu iva Shriman. Iti Chaturnamapi avayavanam upadanam vartate atratu dharmanam upadanam nasti. Clear? Can move on to the next
we will
one.
not have eight subdivisions. We will not have them.
May not be present.
Yeah.
Theriyadu.
Correct.
Ama.
Because we need to have the Upameyam.
The context till அந்த மாதிரி ஸ்லோகம் எழுதரிச்சு we have to check what he writes, what the poet is capable of doing and all that. Then only we can figure out. Yeah.
Okay. Mahoday, tatra upama the original shloka upamanoupameyatvam yadekasyaiva vastunah. There can it be arthantaranyasa alankara also?
Okay.
Can it be like the principle is mentioned in one line and the example in the other one? So can we? No.
अर्थान्तरन्यासस्तु तत्र लोकोक्तिद्वारेण एव तत्र समन्वयः यत्र क्रियते तत्रैव अर्थान्तरन्यासः भवितुमर्हति. अत्र तु लक्ष्यलक्षणश्लोकः. So you cannot bring in alankara here. This is just the first line is the lakshanam, the second line is the lakshya. That's all.
Okay. Then yeah.
Now the third alankara, Upameya Upama alankaraha. This is just a refinement from the earlier one. Paryayena dvayoho tat chet Upameya Upama mata dharmo artha iva purna shrihi artho dharma iva tvayi. You are trying to remove a third object here. In the earlier one, you tried to remove a second object and said, avarukku nigar. He is equal to the same person. That's all. Induhu iva. Itteva tatra uktam. Parantu atra, you are taking two objects and you are comparing those two vice versa. So, dharmaha artha iva purnashrihi vartate. Dharmaha api Arthaha iva purnashrihi vartate. Kutra tvayi. You take an example of a kavi who is looking at a king and he is describing this king. He is saying tvayi, hey Rajan, tvayi, in you, both dharma and artha. Among the four purusharthas, you have dharma, artha, kama and moksha. Among those, two of those exist in you with a fullness that can be only described by the other object here. So dharmaha arthaha iva purna shrihi vartate. You may have your wealth shines beautifully fully in you in the same manner as dharma shines in you. And how does dharma shine? Dharma also shines in the same manner as artha or wealth shines in you. So you are only taking two objects. Paryayena, vakya bhedena, you put one behind the other and the other in front. So dvayoho vastunoho paryayena, one after the other, kramena, upameya upama mata. This is called, once we start reading the vritti, we will understand the first line much better. So, dvayoho upamana upameyayoho. Both the upamana and the upameya, paryayena, if they take on the upamanatvam and the upameyatvam kramena. This is something like our Vyakarana Anuvritti from the earlier shloka, you have to take it. So, tat here would be upamana upameyatvam, upamana upameyasya paryayena yadi chet, yadi bhavet, tarhi tatra upamana upameya alankara mata. So upameya upama alankaraha. Is that clear? Now, as we read the vritti, it will be more clear. Shankari padikirilla.
Dvayor upamana upameyayoho paryayena vakya bhedena tad upamana upameyatvam vivakshyate chet upameya upama alankaraha. Prathama vakye upamana.
Let's go sentence by sentence, meaning, and then we will move on. Okay? So, dvayoho upamana upameyayoho. You have an upamanam and an upameyam. That is what, see, every alankara that we are seeing is upama based alankaras, right? So there are two objects here. We have an upamanam which is arthaha. The next one is dharmaha is your upameya. So upamana upameyayoho dvayoho. What is happening here? Paryayena, one after the other. That is, in one sentence it becomes an upamanam and the upameyam. In the following sentence, vice versa happens. You treat this as the upamana and the other one as the upameya. So vakya bhedena, by doing two sentences, tad upamana upameyatvam vivakshyate. Tasya or tayoho dvayoho api tad upamana here becomes tayoho dvayoho api upamana upameyatvam vivakshyate. Tarhi prathama vakye यत् उपमानं वर्तते यः शब्दः उपमानत्वेन उपयुज्यते स शब्दः द्वितीयवाक्ये उपमेयत्वेन उपयुज्यते. That's all. Okay.
प्रथमवाक्ये उपमानत्वेन विवक्षितस्य द्वितीयवाक्ये उपमेयत्वं तथा प्रथमवाक्ये उपमेयस्य द्वितीये उपमानत्वं च यत्र वर्ण्यते तत्र उपमेय उपमा इति निष्कर्षः.
This is the tatparyam that you have. So when you put a tabular column, you have an upamana, upameya, upamavachaka, and the sadharana dharma. Just keep that as a standard format for each of the alankaras so that it's easier. Now what is happening in the first sentence? You will put dharmaha, because it's not mentioned here, I think. Yes. So dharmaha will be your upamanam. This will be your upameya. Dharmaha is the upameyaha in the first sentence. Arthaha iva ityukte arthaha eva tatra upamanam. Iva is your upama vachaka shabdaha. Purna shritvam will be your samana dharma. Next sentence, arthaha, which was earlier the upamanam, now has to be brought under the upameya category. So arthaha becomes the upameya because you are trying to describe the wealth that is there. What is it like? It is like dharma. So dharma becomes the upameya, upamanam. Iva, again vachaka shabda, the purna shri also continues in the second sentence.
You just have to swap it. Okay.
Yes.
Atra prathama-vakye upameya upamanayoho dharmartayoho.
Illa, tritiya sadrisha vastu
Tritiya
vyavacheda.
sadrisha vastu vyavachedaha prayojanam.
So what is the prayojanam for such an expression? There are only two things that can compare with each other. I cannot bring in a third object for comparison. Like mokshaha or kamaha, all that cannot come in here and intervene. So you are trying to remove the existence of a third object which is equal. So tritiya sadrisha vastu vyavachedaha prayojanam. So this is the reason for this.
The difference between Rama Ravanayor Yuddham and this one is there even though we had that is not like same thing is being compared, right? There also you had two different things. Ananvaya Alankaram had the same object being Upamanam and Upameyam. Here we are having Binna objects as Upamanam and Upameyam.
But you are doing vice versa.
The swapping happens.
Swapping happens, and the prayojanam for this is there is no third object. The prayojanam for Ananvaya is there is no second object.
Second object. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that is important. Make a note of that as a difference between the two alankaras.
But the
Vyavacheda has two meanings, right? If we take the wrong meaning, I was thrown with that avachedaka, like that I was taking.
Yaha dharmaha tatra vidyate tatto. Okay.
But there are nivritti iti
nivarayati evatra.
In this example, like in the previous example, it is, I guess it's more clear that the Vyavacheda is there. Here, the fact that there is a prayojanam which restricts it only to each other, I think is more of a hidden thing, right? At first glance, it seems to me that it's not necessarily that there is no third object, but he just wants to emphasize that he has as much dharma as he has artha, and he's rich in both aspects. Not necessarily that there's nothing else that can be comparable. That is kind of a stretch, isn't it?
It can be a stretch, but then Appa enna aidumna, you will try to put in another, then the fact of it itself is gone. The question of Upameyopama itself is gone. Not beauty, the definition of Upameyopama is gone. Because you're only considering two objects. If you want to bring in a third object which is also Purna Shrihi, Tarhi Tatratu, you're not doing. How would you?
I don't want to bring in a third object. All I'm saying is the focus is only on these two.
Correct. Yeah. True. But then the fact that we are only focusing on these two implies that there is no third to focus on.
See, that implication that you're saying is prayojanam is kind of like it's kind of like lakshana, isn't it? Like there's always an intent behind it. It's almost like a suggestion, right?
Why not? Why not? Absolutely. If we are not warding off that third object, then if there is a loophole where there is a possibility of the third object coming in, then it loses its very lakshana.
Okay.
Can we take it as that it is coming from a group, like that dharma and artha is coming from dharma, artha, kama, moksha?
Ama, adle irundhu dhaan varradhu. But then he does not want to say that kamaha api dharmartha iva purna shrihi vartaten sollala. He does not want to mention that. Because he is only comparing two objects, one is equal to the other and the other is also equal to this. Ipo, I can have, let's say, Chandraha is the Upamanam. Tvanmukham Chandra iva vartate. Tasyaha mukham api Chandra iva vartate. So there can be a fifth object also. If every Nayaka can describe every Nayika's mukham as Chandra. There can be n number of objects of comparison there. Right, Kantitvena, Amritadayakatvena, there can be so many different things that I can compare, but here only these two are present as Purnam.
Yeah, I see. It's more like how
you cannot say like the king is Purna in Karunya, Saundarya, Shaurya and all that, and that
you can say
that, right? Because
you can say it can be present in, but that will not give you the Upameyopama alankara.
Yeah, okay, got it.
So as soon as we introduce some other thing where we are equating it, then it loses the Upama status.
Yes.
Okay. Tvayi dharmaha arthaha iva purnashrir arthaha dharma iva purnashrir iti udaharanam. Atra prathamavakye upameya upamanayoho dharmartayoho dvitiyavakye upamana upameyatvam yathakramam varnitam iti Upameya Upama alankara.
This yathakramam comes from the word paryaya, one after the other. So upamana upameyayoho dharmartayoho, dharmaha upameyaha, arthaha upamanam, dvitiya vakye, the both of these are turned into upamana upameyatvam. So dharmasya upamanatvam bhavati, arthasya cha upameyatvam bhavati iti atra upameya upama alankara. Clear?
So we can't do like where we have a what was the paramparita rupaka alankaram, like that we can't do more than one set and say all of them have this and like a juggling.
Ana rendada vechikano. Adukku dhaan solren. You see, for all the qualities that Shobha listed now, you have Karunyam, you have Gambhiryam, any n number of qualities you may have, but you are only going to do two. So 1 is equal to 2, 2 is equal to 1. And then you have 3 and 4, 3 is equal to 4, 4 is equal to 3. Ippida you are doing it. Even if you come to 2 and 3, then 2 is equal to 3, 3 is equal to 2. You will have to do this for each and every pair of Upamana Upameya. Then only you can have Upameyopama alankara.
Okay.
Ippa varadu parangu. See, the next example he gives, kam iva jalam, jalam iva kam, hamsa iva chandraha, chandra iva hamsaha, kumudakaraha taraha, tarakarani kumudani. So he is giving you different sets which are like that. So kam iva jalam, kam akasham, akasham iva jalam vartate, jalam iva kam. the akasha is also like the jalam. So what is happening here? Kham iva, anything that is with the iva shabda, that would become your upamanam. Kham is the upamanam in this sentence, prathama vakye, and jalam is the upameya in this prathama vakyam. Dvitiya vakye tu jalam upamanatvena uktam, kham tu tatra upameyatvena svikriyate. The same goes for the next set. Hamsaha iva chandraha. Chandraha iva hamsaha. So usually whichever word is followed by iva, take that word as your upamanam. So hamsa iva, chandraha. Chandra becomes the upameya. Chandra iva, Chandra becomes the upamanam, and hamsaha. So that is your upameya. Kumudakaraha taraha. The stars are all like flowers.
White
lilies.
White lily. White.
Kuvalaya, Kumuda. Kumudakaraha taraha. Tarakarani kumudani. So he's actually comparing a night sky to the river, which is, or a lake, which is at night. So that upama is completely in your Vyangya Paksham. So in the lake you have a water, you have a swan, and you also have lilies here. In the same way, in the Akasham also you have the expanse of the Akasha. You have a moon which is like the swan, and then you have all these stars which are like lilies. So it is actually like a reverse of the Hradam. Right?
Amazing. I mean, it's such a beautiful example. It's amazing.
It's and like a painting.
The fact is that in the pond that the Kavi is looking at, also you can see the reflection of the night sky, and I mean, exactly. It's reflection on the reflection. It's so beautiful. And the Vyangya, the Upama that's in the Vyangya Paksha is actually enhancing the beauty of the whole thing. It almost overshadows the beauty of the Upameyopama.
It can happen like that. Of course, it can. Right? That is what is Dhwani there.
It's amazing.
Well, what is the Dhwani, Maudya? What is the Vyangya
The Upama, Upamyam is your Dhwani. That the Akasha, the night sky is the same. Ratri Akasha is very similar to the lake here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like Sudarthan.
Neela என்ன அதுல கண்ணம்மா நின் கண்கள் வந்து தாரகை அப்படின்லாம் வரும்ல.
இல்ல புடவை.
புடவை. ஓகே. இருக்கும்ல.
பட்டுக்கருநீல புடவை.
கண்ணம்மா. அதுதான் பதித்த நல் வைரம்.
பதித்த நல் வைரம்.
பியூட்டிஃபுல்லா இருக்கும்.
நட்ட நடு நிசியில் தெரிந்த நட்சத்திரங்களடி.
புடவையோட கம்பேர் பண்றாரு, இங்க லேக்கோட கம்பேர் பண்ணிக்கிறாங்க.
அத்ர நிர்மலத்வ தவலத்வ ஆதயः தர்மாः நோபாதாः தர்மார்த்த இவ இதி பூர்வ உதாஹரணே பூர்ணஸ்ரீः இதி தர்ம உபாத இதி விசேஷः. அத்ர தர்மः ந உபாதः. Okay.
That's all. So there is no dharma here. Yeah. Nairmalyam, nirmalatvam is the samana dharma between akasha and jalam. Then you have hamsa. So you can take that as dhavalata. So dhavalata is the he's saying aujvalya vartulatvadi iti. Okay. Aujvalyam. Prakashata. During night, the moon is white and bright in the night sky. In the same way, during night, hradetu tatra shuklaha hamsaha api chandra iva tatra prakashatvena vartate iti. So you can take aujvalyam as the commonality between the moon and the swan, or you can take dhavalatvam as the commonality between the moon and the swan. Then you can take the aujvalyam as the commonality between the nakshatrani and kumudaha.
There is also a black swan.
அது இருக்கு, இருந்துட்டு போட்டுமே. நமக்கு அதை பத்தி சொன்னோம்னா அப்புறம் சந்திரனோட கம்பேர் பண்ண மாட்டோம். அமாவாசையே ஒண்ணு இல்லையே.
அதான்
நம்ம பூர்ண சந்திரனோட தான் கம்பேர் பண்ணுவோம். So Nirmalatva Dhavalattvadayaha Dharmaha na Upattaha. These Sadharana Dharmas have not been mentioned. Whereas in Dharma Artha Iva Purna Shrihi, the Sadharana Dharma Upattaha iti Visheshaha. Okay.
Why it is Vartulatvadi Vartulatvanam?
Vartulam is round.
Round, yeah.
So Hamsa, when it sleeps, it puts its head into itself and then it is in the form of a round ball.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is what he is comparing.
Oh, so sweet. So cute.
At night, so it won't be roaming around and flying. Yeah.
But நிறைய அனிமல்ஸ் அப்படிதானே ஒரு மாதிரி.
Even dogs do that.
Yeah, Lord தூங்கறதுக்கு அப்படிதானே அது வரும். The next alankara is Pratipa alankara. We have a couple of bhedas in this. I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 differences in this. Let's see. Lena, we'll stop with this and start with Pratipa alankara next class. Okay. Yeah. So that we go over the whole set in one shot. Hopefully.